Joining me now, this is going to be great, great fun. Brian Kilmeade, co-host of Fox and Friends, host of One Nation with Brian Kilmeade, the Brian Kilmeade radio show, and What Made America Great on Fox Nation. How about that? Did we get it right?
Yes, you did.
And we welcome to the show, first time, my old friend, Jeanine Pirro, Judge Jeanine, co-host of The Five. Thank you.
Also Castles on Fox Nation.
Which?
Castles USA on Fox Nation.
Well, we should have had that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
I'm sorry.
We'll fix that in editing. We'll take this right out.
No, I'm okay with it. I edit on the fly, too. So, Judge Jeanine, let me start with you. I'm comparing this to then. I know it's different. Joe Biden is not as good looking as King George III. It's not exactly quite the same. That was a joke. It's not quite the same, but I think it is in many ways the same. The consent of the governed has left. We're going to have a new separation. The cavalry's coming. There's a populist revolt out there, and I want to get your thoughts on that.
Well, let's hope the cavalry is coming. But when you say that, I think of Afghanistan, and I think of all of those people in Afghanistan who thought that the cavalry was coming, and the United States cavalry was never coming, and that, of course, was under Biden. And with respect to, the economy and inflation, Joe Biden has nothing to say other than, that things are going to get better and it's only transitory, and that that we're not going to buy any oil from Russia anymore. And Russia is making more money than they ever have. The ruble is stronger than it's ever been, and everything seems to be wrong. This administration doesn't know how to provide or protect the American people. They can't even protect the babies with baby formula. We're going to be facing, I believe, a food shortage with what's happened in Ukraine, with fertilizer and Russia and wheat and all of that. I think that we're going to have a real problem. And so let's hope that the cavalry comes in November. Whether or not it does is another question. But, Joe Biden is there until 2024.
Right.
It's 2022 right now. I mean, I love your analysis. I love what you said about all of those things. I mean, nothing gives me goosebumps like the Declaration of Independence. It is such a strong, it's such strong language, that we get these rights. They're from God. They are natural rights. Right. The right to defend ourselves.
That's right.
The right to bear arms. That's a natural right. Washington didn't give me a right to bear arms. God gave me a right to defend myself. And I mean, I could go on, but we're in a mess. We're in a hell of a mess. We've got a president where even I think it's 68% of the Democrats think that we're in a hell of a mess.
Brian Kilmeade, look, I think there's a populist revolt. I think it's not unlike what the founders faced in 1776. Now, we will use democratic means to change it, but it just looks to me, for all the reasons Jeanine just said, it looks to me like the folks, the majority of the folks, even perhaps the majority of the Democrats, want a change because of this overbearing, overreaching, radical, progressive, big government, socialist operation of Joe Biden.
I'd even remove Democrat and Republican from this. I think we're a self-correcting country. And I would say there's got to be a way to people look around and go, look, we gave you the opportunity to run the country, and you left us in last place. We gave you a first-place team. You left us in last. We're not talking about rhetoric. We're not talking about opinion. We're not talking about philosophy. We're talking about how you left the economy, how you left the supply chain short, how you continue to be unable to affect it, how we can't even get on a plane and get anywhere on time. What you are directly responsible for is one thing. What you fixed is almost zero. What you created is a huge problem. In Afghanistan, I'm going to amend one thing. And because I was at the Navy SEAL Museum yesterday, and I saw all these Navy SEALs, 1,000 people show up for the Michael Murphy Naval SEAL Museum. And most of these guys fought in Afghanistan. And I go, how do you feel? And he said, I like to focus on what we did after. And I'm thinking to myself, well, you're talking about those 2 weeks when we got everybody out. He goes, no, I'm talking about what we're doing today.
Right.
Because after we left, this government screwed up the way we left, the way they embarrassed us. In come the men and the women and private finance to get our people and our allies out. That's America. I didn't mention Democrat. I didn't mention Republican.
To do
get
what
our people
Biden
out.
should have done
exactly.
in the first place.
When he said he was not going to leave an American behind, when he did, these guys looked around and go, we're going back. They gave up their businesses. They sold their places. Private donations flowed in. They get a third country. They get other opportunities. And they come in, put the face paint back on. They find a way to get their people out. That's America. Right. Self-correcting country that eventually does the right thing, even when our leaders fail us. And when we have cops, we're told you can't arrest anybody, you can't put them in jail. So now they're going to leave, and sooner or later, America's looking around going, okay, all hell is broken out in the streets. You know, the men and women in blue, I kind of support them now. Not a Democrat, not a Republican, not a mayor, not a governor. I support the people trying to keep me safe. And the other thing the Republicans got to be sure to do, and it's going to be the toughest, just because you win, which looks like they're going to do in the House and Senate, doesn't mean Democrats have to lose. Don't go for the jugular every single time, because sooner or later, for 2 years, they keep their powder dry, they come back to do the same thing. We've tried this for about 16, 18 years now. We win, you lose. We win, you lose. We win. How can we work together? And if you can't, you can't. And I think there's a way to do that. And there's a Joe Manchin, there's a Bill Maher, there's people on the left side that want to get things done.
But you know what? I wish it were that simple. You know what, Brian? I wish it were that simple. Every time the Democrats are in power, they're looking to indict, they're looking to trash, they're looking to destroy the people on the right. The people on the right, the conservatives, the Republicans, they walk around like they're the Marquess of Queenberry rule. You know, they've got their hands tied behind their back. You know, we just let them step all over us. They get into power, and look at what happens. They lie, and they say, oh, my God, in the summer of 2020, when the streets were burning down, oh, these are all peaceful protests, you know, with Black Lives Matter. Oh, no, that's a great organization. No, it's not. And everything that they were doing was contrary to the and look at what they're doing at the Supreme Court justices' houses. We don't do that. They do that.
So what's the answer? Is the answer to protest at the liberal Supreme Court Justice House?
The answer.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, but that is not the answer.
Be the bigger person.
The answer is no. The answer is when they violate the law, you prosecute them the way they prosecute us. The law is the law. And that's what the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, is all about. It's about law and order.
It's a rule of law.
We don't roll over
and
say, you know, okay, we're going to let them get away with it. Let's be friends.
Fundamental to the Declaration of Independence and the democracy from the founders is the rule of law.
That's right.
The sanctity of property. Okay, for everybody, equally. And if the government doesn't give it to you, then you revolt. In those cases, they had to revolt with a war, which they did. They played hardball. Nowadays, we revolt at the ballot box, but I think we have to play some hardball here, too. I mean, look, let's take this one item. The Justice Department, this is you know this better than anybody. The Justice Department has still refused to enforce the law with respect to protesting at the Supreme Court.
You're talking about Title 18, Section 1507.
It's a law.
Why?
It's a law, and they got to do it. Now, I don't want to wreck any chance of an American majority, to use Newt Gingrich's phrase, but I got to say, Jeanine is right. You just have to enforce the law. I mean, here, another one.
Larry, did Democrats vote for Did Democrats vote for Reagan?
Yes, absolutely.
Why?
And
he didn't necessarily court them.
And did Republicans vote for Obama? Yes.
Yes, right. And so if you get into power, those Supreme Court, if Republicans get into power, the Supreme Court's going to get their protection. Republicans get into power, the Justice Department's not going to be used to strip down Trump officials or Biden officials for no reason. They're going to do things right. Doesn't mean you cower. But at the same time, things have gotten so bad. We're a self-correcting country where the Republicans are about to slide back into power, barring something unforeseen, because the Democrats have been so inept. So once you get there, you do things right and let the emerging middle start going to the right, because they saw what happened on the left.
I don't disagree particularly. I'm just saying, I mean, I would like to create an American coalition, okay? It's something Gingrich and I have talked a lot about in the last 6 months. Steve Moore will be on the show in a few moments. He's worked on it. Art Laffer's worked on it. I was a Democrat once upon a time, a long time ago. I admit that, at the time of King George. But look she's right about enforcing the rule of law. I mean, I just think the rule of law has to be part of whatever coalition you think is going to be out there. And Jeanine, I cannot get over the fact, two things. The fact that they won't bust the protesters in the Supreme Court justice homes, and either the day of or the day after the Roe decision, this Justice Department attacked the Supreme Court. I've never seen that before. It is the most political darn thing I've ever seen. And that, by the way, I think most Americans would be angry at that, too.
It's the takedown of institutions,
Yes.
American institutions.
Yes.
And that's insulting to Americans, I would hope, whether you're right, Republicans or Democrat. I agree with you.
Right. When you do the right thing, people will follow, because there's a lot of people who are sitting there wanting to fix things and are less ideological than I even think 10 years ago, because things have gone so off track.
So we agree. There is a separation coming. The
Right and wrong.
The consent of the governed is walking away, and we're going to form a new government. Very exciting to me.
This is your Aaron Burr moment, where you're going to take half the country a different direction?
Well, I don't know. I think it'll be a little more than half.
And a government that hopefully understands that they derive their powers from us.
Woo.
Love that.
Right.
I love that.
I think I agree with that, and I think that you're going to see it at the ballot box. But I just think when you win, how you win has everything to do with how successful you'll be.
I agree.
And institutions, 100%. In fact, that's going to be a theme on Saturday night. The institution, you challenge every election that you lose, from Stacey Abrams to President Trump to Hillary Clinton. You attack every decision you don't like by saying it's illegitimate, like what's happening with Whoopi Goldberg and all these others on the Supreme Court, and ripping Clarence Thomas personally. And then when you talk about everything else that you take for granted with this country, instead of just saying this is the way it is, they challenge and say, I'm going to ignore it, like not doing the Remain in Mexico policy, even though a court said to do it. Not going ahead and enforcing Title 42, even though a court said you have to leave it in place. They're just ignoring the law. They're ignoring the institutions. If you ignore the rules of the game, we can't play anymore.
Well, we can play by the rules of the game, and we will restore life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Jeanine Pirro. Judge Jeanine, you're wonderful to come on the show.
Thank you.
We appreciate it very, very much.
Happy to be here.
Will you insist on having me on every time
Brian,
you come on?
She's something. No,
Yeah.
she's something.
Yeah.
And Brian Kilmeade, as always.
Thank you.
Terrific
Thank
stuff.
you.
Be sure to catch Brian's new season of What Made America Great. And here it is, Judge Jeanine on Castles USA. And it's, wait a second, it's on foxnation.com.
That's it.
How about that?
She's
Happy
happy now.
Fourth.
Thank
She's
you very
smiling
much.
again.